Hey lovelies, you're welcome back to Reviews and Recaps. Let's talk about Maurice confronting Melody and discussing the DUI conversation. I want to say my little 2 cents about the scenes that we saw. I will say it's giving Maurice things that he wants to be able to gaslight her, and it was not working. There's no way you're going to sit in front of Melody and deflect. Melody was not having any of it. But I will say I do like how eventually, towards the end of the conversation, they were able to get a resolve on the issue. At least for now, we know that they're not on good terms and the reunion didn't go well. But at least I feel like they were able to sort of end it on a decent note. So I do want to talk about that in a little bit of detail and my perspective on that. I will also say that I have noticed that a lot of comments that I've been seeing lately have been people calling Melody bitter and saying that they feel like she is dealing with the impact of some of the things that have been done to her. I personally feel like the last thing I would call Melody is bitter, but I do feel like there's some stuff that can be explored when it comes to whether or not there is some impact on Melody in relation to the way that she has been treated by the castmates. So let's get into it. But before that, if you're new to this channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. I do commentary on Love and Marriage Huntsville and other reality shows like Married to Medicine and Real Housewives of Atlanta and the others. So yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, everyone, please like, share, and don't forget to let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now let's get into it. So for those of you who haven't watched the new episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville, don't worry, I got you. I'll talk about some of the things that happened in the episode in relation to Maurice and Melody. I watched it so you don't have to. And for those that watched it, let's all get into the comments and talk about how we feel about this episode. Okay. So Mel basically was invited by Maurice to go over to the office. So she showed up there and they started talking about the whole DUI situation again. Mel actually starts off complimenting Maurice's office, which I think is good. I think if you're being invited to someone's office and you think something is nice, of course, talk about it. I think Mel is the one that I've noticed that has etiquette. The rest of them don't be having etiquette. You show up at her event, you can't talk about things being great, and then you start with the shady behavior, weird facial expressions, attitudes, all that kind of stuff. It's like, don't be coming to people's spaces with that kind of bad energy. You could tell she literally came on some good, positive vibes thing, which I love. So Maurice felt like there was some unresolved stuff between them. Mel was like, okay, is this about the DUI situation? Which he said it was. So he talked about, he felt like Mel had been going from person to person disparaging his character, and he feels like the old Mel would have called him directly. Now, Mel said something and I agree with her. She's like, it's not really disparaging his character because he took care of that on his own. And I agree. Because if you go out there to do something like that and get arrested, then that's on you. That is on your character. That is a stain on your reputation. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm allowed to have an opinion on it. The same way you guys had opinions on her marriage, on all of the things that she has dealt with Martel. You guys continue to have your opinions and do whatever it is you feel like doing. So I don't think it's acceptable that she herself cannot have those opinions. Maurice ended up asking if it feels like a retaliation for something that they've done to her. And she's like, no, she just says her opinion about how she feels about it. Maurice then attempts to try to gaslight her. It's like, oh, is it the pain and embarrassment of all of the things you've been through in the public? And I'm just thinking, Maurice, what are you trying to do? You're trying to, the same way you and Marceau do to your wives. It's like, why are you trying to deflect from the conversation and be like, oh, is it because of all the things you've gone through in the public eye, which is now why you're trying to get a get back? Like, nah, that ain't got nothing to do with anything. Let's talk about you. So, of course, we know production does not like Melody this season because they want to keep bringing that bit about her saying the cheating and just how Martel has been cheating in a disrespectful manner. I feel like they're just trying to bring some credence to what Destiny said about disrespectful cheating. But here's the thing. It's almost like you guys are choosing to misunderstand what Mel meant in that moment. If you've been cheating on somebody and she decides to take you back and you say you wouldn't do it, and the side chick is out here calling her, that is disrespectful. It's beyond just cheating. It's disrespectful for your side chick to be having to call me. And I think that's what she meant. But I feel like they are constantly bringing up that flashback scene every opportunity they get to try to bring credence to her trying to teach the side chick how to respectfully cheat, when the side chick has said out of her own mouth that she wasn't on the phone to Melody like that. So it's like, why are these people trying to reinvent history? Nonetheless, it's a side point, so we're not going to dwell on it. I'm personally glad that Mel asked, like, what does that have to do with him? Like, what does that have to do with what we are talking about? And he's like, oh, well, sometimes when people are offended, they tend to offend. Hurt people. And it's like, don't try to create this narrative that she is living in a place of hurt. Now, let's be clear. You guys have done some disgusting, shady things. So yes, she does not trust you. And she is on the defensive when it comes to you. Absolutely agree. But that does not mean that she's out here trying to intentionally come for you guys. There is something in the news about you and you're choosing not to talk about it. So of course I have to address it. No one else is going to address it. No one else is going to hold you accountable. Someone has to do the job. And as a producer, that's the job that Mel has to do. So then he goes, well, he wants them to be in a better place and for the energies to be good, and he wants the old Mel back. Here's the thing. The old Mel was the woman that was cheated on and still had a smile on her face. She doesn't have to be that person. And I love how she said to him, now, you guys know Melody Holt. You guys do not know Melody Rogers, okay? So now it's time for you guys to get to know Melody Rogers, and you're not in her life. You don't know her to know whether or not she's happy. And that's the truth. If you're not in my life, how dare you? Who do you think you are? Talking about you don't think I'm happy. And I know the people trying to write for Maurice would say, but that's the same thing she was doing. No. It was in the public that he got arrested for a DUI. He has not come out to say, no, I was not drinking or under the influence in any way. He said nothing. So no, they are completely different situations. You cannot assume my state of mind because I call out something that you have done. It's disingenuous. Of course, Maurice talks about she feels like she's projecting all the issues that she's had. And Mel is like, nah, what are you on about? So, of course, Maurice then agrees that, he doesn't know the real her. He hasn't really been around her. And he tries to say, like, maybe it's a group and that energy changes and blah, blah, blah. So then he proceeds to bring up Martel. And this is why I say to you guys, I know what Maurice is doing and Maurice knows what Maurice is doing. But some people are so dumb and slow to see what Maurice is doing. Why else do you think that he brought up Martel? He was trying to get a reaction out of her. The same way he went over to Martel and brought up Melody, because he was trying to get a reaction. And it's like, the more people sit back and really think and watch how people act, what people say, when they say what they say, you will get the full picture of who these people are. People like to make it seem that we don't call Melody out or anything, but when you guys see the diabolical behaviors of these people, you see why she navigates the relationships the way she navigates them. Because what did the conversation have to do with Martel? Why did you have to bring Martel up? So, of course, Melody says to him, she is not, of course, going to be hanging out with people who are hanging out or have that close relationship with Martel. And she was saying in her confessionals, if Maurice and Martel has such a strong relationship, she's never really felt that they need to pick a side. However, for her own mental health and safety, if anyone is going to be close to Martel, she doesn't want them in her personal space. And I can completely understand. This man has done so many things. He is still taking her to court. There's still like a custody battle in relation to the children. There is still the revenge piece situation. So it's like, let's not act like this man has not and does not continue to do things against his ex-wife. Yet you expect her to still be okay with you guys being friends and bringing him up to her? These are the things that you guys do, and then are shocked that she does not want any part of you. Maurice basically then asked if he's done anything specifically to make her unhappy in the past. She's like, she's not unhappy, and that he keeps saying that there's no reason for him to keep saying that. However, Melody does tell him that in the past he used to do a lot of laughing and smirking when things were happening in relation to her, and she did not appreciate it. And I agree. I feel like Maurice did a lot of that. We can also see, because from the episode that he had with Martel, he was literally saying, oh, I didn't want her to do me the way she did you. I'm like, what are we talking about? What did Melody do to Martel? What are you talking about? And this is the thing that bothers me when it comes to the things that these people do. And when you then call them out, you have their fans that are not paying attention, accusing people of defending Melody. It's like, you guys make it easy to defend Melody because of the kind of behaviors that you guys do. Now, I will say, Maurice eventually apologized, and she said she accepted his apology, and then also apologized to him for anything that she may have said that might have hurt his feelings as well. So I feel like they both sort of ended it on that note. Now, Maurice then said, oh, he used to think she was infallible. I'm like, what are we talking about? Whatever, man. Get out of here. And that's what I mean. That little jab. It's like, was that really necessary after you guys have finally squashed things and you're ending it on a good footing? Was that really necessary? Did you really have to say that? But he knew exactly what he was doing. But at least it all ended on a good note. So let me know what you guys thought of this particular scene. Did you think that Maurice was right in the way he handled Mel, or do you think he was deflecting from talking about his issues and forcing the spotlight to be on Mel yet again? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and tap that bell button right next to it so you know every single time that I post or go live. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bye.